Welcome, welcome. I am so glad you've joined today. I'm Kelly Pitts, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in Lubbock, Texas, and I am happy to have you as part of the Create with Kelly crew. That's what we call all the folks who come over and come to classes or tune in to my lives or watch the replays on YouTube and Facebook Live. I'm just so glad you joined today. We're going to do this Christmas card, and I'm going to have a Merry Christmas on the one we do today. I just kind of wanted to show you how you can change up the theme and just keep it a winter theme and change the same layout, the same basic card, just with the greetings to make it fit what you need. So that's what we're going to do today. And we're also going to talk a little bit about the last chance. We are currently having the last chance product sale, and that started December 1st. And products are going like crazy. So if there's something in the mini catalog from July through December that you are looking for and want to pick up, you get it now, because a lot of the items are discounted 60%. So that's a good deal, no matter how you look at it, crafters. And if you have a wish list and want somebody here locally to take care of you, make sure you get the gifts you'd like, I can email you a wish list if you'll let me know at Kelly, K-E-L-L-E-Y, at createwithkelly.com. And we could maybe get you some of these last chance products. I will be placing an order today on the host code. So I am glad you're here. If you do tune in, please let me know, and let me know who you are and what your name is and where you're from. Would love to know about that. I think you have to give permission for me to be able to see that you're not just a Facebook user. You'll have to let Facebook know that it's okay for you to be noticed on the StreamYard live, however you call those. I'm broadcasting through StreamYard to YouTube Live and Facebook Live at the same time. So in order for me to see your comments and know who you are, you'll just need to give permission for that. And we'll get started here. We're going to show you kind of how to make this card. Like I said, we're going to do some heat embossing and some texture embossing, and would love to have your input. Okay, we're going to get with it. I'm going to switch over the camera, and if I can get my little pad to work properly, just a sec here. We're going to switch these. I think I'll do this for a minute. We'll switch these up. Boop. There we go. Now you can see who you're talking to. I'll switch when we get a little more detailed here. All right, we've got, and all of the measurements and everything are on my blog at createwithkelly.com. So if you go to that, you'll find all the measurements. I don't think I have them written down today, but hopefully we'll have everything you need here. Okay, let's see. One thing I might be missing, I meant to do, hang on just a sec here. We will see what we've got going on. Yep, I thought I was going to get you we're going to switch this over to this solo, and I'll be right back. Got to grab one thing. Oh, no. Well, no. I don't want to do that. Okay, I'm back already. I meant to make you a pretty one of these and just did not get a chance to, but I'll give people a minute to tune in at least, hopefully. And it's so exciting. We have a new catalog coming up. Okay, I'm back. Are anybody here? Okay, I may just, we'll just get going. I'm going to introduce myself again in case somebody is just tuning in. I am Kelly Pitts, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in Lubbock, Texas. And we're going to do a card today that could be a winter card. It could be an anniversary card. It could be a thank you card. It could be a Christmas card, whatever you want it to be. So I'm going to get this where I can see your comments. And please let me know when you tune in, where you're from, and what your name is and all that. Happy to have you join. Okay, we're starting with the typical size card base of 8.5 by 5.5, except we cut off 1 inch. So this is really 7.5 by 5.5. Hi, Sharon. So glad you've tuned in. I appreciate that. Hope you're having a great day. You have been busy with classes and posts and all that. I admire how often you get posts done. That's amazing. Okay, and I'm starting with a thick card base, thick white, and we're going to start with I wanted to show you, I could have done this ahead of time, but I wanted to kind of show you, even though it's a little shaky to do this on air, we're going to show you kind of how to line up this plate, because we're going to be doing the card like this, if you can see, and all we want is one little edge of the Wintry so that you have room to write here, and that way you don't have to do a separate insert piece if you don't want to. So I'm going to show you that. Just put the platform in, and then this is a 3D folder, I believe. So all we need is the paper. And normally when you put the texture embossing folders in, you put them hinge first. But if you want it on one side, you're kind of limited exactly how far you can put this in. So that doesn't really work, as you can see, okay? Because we have all this paper hanging out. So what we're going to do is just move this over a little bit so we have room to write, and we're going to break the rules. You can break the rules sometimes. It's your folder, it's your machine, so you can break it. I like to leave it just with one layer out there, if that makes sense. We're just going to put this through with the 3D embossing plate number 4 that works on our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And now you can see that we have just a nice little detailed edge, and it does show just a little bit the line, but to me that just kind of helps delineate this side from this side. So there we go. Hey, Sharon. Yeah. So you just schedule them all ahead. You don't use a scheduler, right, Sharon, to schedule all your posts? That is just awesome. I'm so impressed with that, how you do that. Okay. That is the Wintry 3D embossing folder that's from the annual catalog, the 22-23. It was a carryover from last year, and it comes in a pair with one that is tree branches, kind of like pine tree branches, and then this other one is the snowflakes. So we're going to go to the next step, which is to do some, instead of texture embossing or dry embossing, as some folks call it, we're going to do heat embossing. And I have my little tray here. I kind of try to keep everything in a tray. We're going to stamp it first, so I'll do that. And whenever I use white embossing powder like we're going to use today, I like to use craft white ink instead of just Versamark. I really think it does a better job. It makes it whiter. So I'm going to use the Embossing Buddy, which we have available again. I'm excited about that. It comes in a little kit with a tray and the Embossing Buddy and some little craft tweezers, which are very handy. And I'm showing you here the Snow Crystal. I'll give you that number in case you haven't seen this. It is a really detailed stamp that's just gorgeous. And it's item number 159821. And it is one big stamp. It takes either the Stamparatus or the Big Shot. Yes, I'm glad somebody else does that sideways, Sharon. I have had one break at one time in a class, but I just think it was it was put in wrong or something. But yeah, it's intended to put them in with the hinge first, but I put them in sideways too. Thanks for sharing that. I'm not the only one who's a rule breaker. Okay, get it really, really coated really well and get your pad pretty wet because you want to be able to stick all that white embossing powder on here. All right. So as I was saying, I think craft white ink with the white embossing powder really shows up better and white, more white. See if I'm on the camera right. Straight down, and I give it a little pressure. I think I'll take me off so that you can see this a little bigger. There we go. Use some pressure and let that white ink really get on there good and stick. Okay. Then we're going to take that off. We'll bring our little tray back in. And I put my embossing powder in a little container of some sort. These I just got, I think at Walmart or somewhere, and get them at the Dollar Tree, anything. I just think it's easier than using the whole, trying to put everything back in the jar every time. So we're going to hold the paper over the little tray that's got all the embossing powder, and I've got my fan going a little bit much. I wasn't thinking about that earlier. I was hot. It's kind of blowing my powder around a bit. Okay. I think I'm going to go, we got that pretty close. See if I can get that off. I forgot to bring my little brush over, which if you'll use a little paintbrush or something, you can get off any stray bits that you don't want there. But with the snowflake, I think it's fine to have a few speckles here and there. Just hit that from the back like that. And we're going to move this out of the way now. And these are not the little crafting tweezers. I already had some, but Stampin' Up! Ones are like this where you don't have to keep holding on to the tweezers. So we're going to let the heat tool heat up a bit. And then, so hopefully this will kind of mute this. So you don't have to hear it so loud. We're going to get this close where you can see the white turn shiny. It turns from matte to shiny. And actually, I've tried this both ways. I've done the ink first and then the embossing powder over it. And I think both ways work. I like doing it this way better. And I don't know why. Sharon, when you do embossing and then do blending brushes around it, after you emboss, do you emboss first or do you put the color on the sheet and then do embossing on top of it? If you're doing emboss resist technique. Just curious. As I said, I've tried it both ways, and it seems like this was going to be easier to show on camera to do it this way. So this doesn't quite show the magic of embossing as much with white on white as some other colors, but it is beautiful once you get the background on there. I think this snow crystal is just gorgeous. And just make sure, kind of turn your paper in the light and make sure it's shiny everywhere, and then quit. You can make it go back to matte, and you don't want that. You want it to stay shiny all over. I think we've got that done. And we're just going to put a sheet of, should have had a prettier sheet. That one's not quite as used. Everything's that I had in sight was already used, but I hope y'all forgive me. I didn't start with a clean sheet. So we're going to use some of Stampin' Up's wonderful blending brushes, and I just think these are gorgeous. And this says dark purple, but I've been using light on it, so I think this is going to work great. Okay, and we're going to use fresh freesia. I think I'm going to start with the pool party. It seems to be a little bit lighter. You usually start with your light color, and I think I'm going to put my pad underneath it. That's what I should have cleaned, but I'm just used to working on that kind of surface. We'll see how this works. I'm going to close this up. Should have grabbed one of my little Stamparatus grids. That would have worked too. Okay, we'll start with our pool party. And I just tap onto the pad with the brush and always start off of it. Even though you're covering the whole background, I start off the paper and then come back on and work with it in a circular motion. I feel like that helps you prevent a lot of the blobs and gobs and all that you can get otherwise. I'm trying to, it'll make a little bit darker edge, which is kind of nice because that's going to make that pop a little more off of the thick white background. And you don't have to do exactly half and half. And in fact, I usually don't. When I'm doing a two-tone like this, I kind of do a little bit more of one color than the other. It's really about half the snowflake, but I'm going to do a little bit more purple at the bottom. And you can make this as light as you want, or do a little bit more depth of color to show a little more contrast with the white. Of course, the more color you add, the more contrast you'll have with the actual snowflake that is white. So I think that's about what I want there. Now we're going to switch over to the fresh freesia, and then we'll see. If we accidentally get it too dark, we can always come back and make the pool party a little darker. Now we're going to go from pool party to fresh freesia. And I have re-inked this one recently. One thing I did discover, if you can see I've got little sparkles in my ink pad. I don't know if you can tell, but I thought these would be pretty with some of our past embossing powder that it was called iridescent ice, or one of those that had some sparkle in it. And man, you get that on your brush and go back to your pad, you're not getting that sparkle out of your pad, which doesn't really matter, except for the fact that sometimes it falls right in line of a font that's thin or something, and it'll actually block. If that gets on your stamp when you stamp, then it really does. It can mess up your stamp or that stamped image, because that blocks the ink from getting on there. It seems like it would be too tiny to show, but it really shows on some of the fonts. I'll show you. Hopefully it won't happen on the one that we're doing here. I'm trying to make this a little darker so you have plenty of contrast there to see online. I'm kind of liking that. I like the pool party fresh freesia combo. Okay, and then while we've got this pad out, let's see, I was going to bring a little wet wipe, but I'm just going to use a Kleenex to kind of buff off the excess ink off of the white. This is called the emboss resist technique, because the embossed area resists the color that you've added on top on the rest of it. There we go. Isn't that pretty? That snow crystal stamp is just gorgeous. So you can imagine you can do any colors you want. I just really had some embellishments in mind, the adhesive back gems. Yeah, Sharon, that's true. I'm excited about that too. We are getting some smaller blending brushes that'll be good for going into little areas or more detailed, which will be great. And we also are getting blending storage containers, blending brush storage, which I am excited about, because I was just about to buy some elsewhere and discovered we were going to have them. So I'm excited. Okay, once again, I apologize about the messy stamp pad, but that's just all I could find at the moment. All right, we're going to make this one instead of a thanks card like this one. We're going to, I'm trying to get this where you can see everything, but that will be handy to have two sizes of brushes. Has everybody filled their wish list and gotten everything from the last chance products list that you want? Boy, that is quite a sale. If you get some of those 60, and I usually stamp off one time just to make sure before I stamp. Hopefully I'm not getting my head in the camera. And if you'll just stamp straight down, give it a second to soak into the paper, lift it up, you're going to get a good crisp image each time. So as I said, we're making this a Merry Christmas card. And I'm going to take, to make the white show, since this overlaps onto the right hand side of the card, I'm going to take a little sponge dauber. And the blending brush is kind of big for this one, so I don't know if it will help to have a smaller one or if still the sponge dauber. I think we've got a lot of tools to play with. We are so lucky as crafters, and especially Stampin' Up! Crafters, that we have so many different tools and different ways to get the effect that we want. So on here, I'm going to just go around the edges. Let's make sure you can see here. And give this a little bit of the pool party on the edge. And sometimes I don't like the sponge look on the edges, but I really think it works well, especially on this particular die that comes from the Tailored Tags dies. It has the stitching all the way around it. And I think that really helps, instead of just doing it on a piece of paper that doesn't have the stitching. Somehow it makes a difference to me. I don't know. I just kind of like it this way to give it that detail. And that's all I've done all the way around. And I did try it with a marker and try to go all the way up to the stitching. I thought that might be a cute idea, but nope, didn't like it. So we'll get that out of the way. And I'll go ahead and glue this down. We've got our separate pieces. That gives that just a moment to dry. Get our lovely little, very well used stamp pad here. I mean, silicone mat. And I use a liquid glue usually. Sometimes you can use Stampin' Seal, whatever your favorite adhesive is. And always caution my Create with Kelly crew members, just make sure before you glue something down that you don't need to wrap a ribbon around it or anything. Look at layering first. And if there's nothing, if this is the top layer on top of this and nothing's in between, then you can go ahead and glue it. So I just kind of go around the edge, scribble a bit, and like I said, I have the glue transferred into a little fine tip bottle. And you just adhere this so that you've got an even border all the way around. The card base is 5.5, and this is 5 1/4 by 3. Okay, so you should have a 4 1/4 area here, but you've cut off an inch, so this would be 3 1/4 wide. So your piece that you're putting on top that we have used the blending brushes on is 3 1/4 by 5 1/4. All right. Now we're going to take our little Merry Christmas tag that we made and add a little ribbon. And this is a brand new ribbon from the upcoming mini catalog that you'll be able to order from soon. We're just going to cut a little bit off. This is probably, I don't know, 5 inches-ish, 5 or 6 inches, maybe. Probably should have gotten it a little bit longer. But this one is, it's a pool party ribbon, and it's polyester. It is grosgrain ribbon, 3/8 inch. So that'll be available in the new catalog. If you have the current sheer ribbon, it would be beautiful on this also. I just wanted to give y'all a sneak peek of one of the products from the new upcoming January through April catalog that's coming. And I just made a little loop. I think I cut that a little short, but I think we can do it. So I'll just run the ends through that loop that I made. We're going to straighten that up. I got it a little crooked. There we go. Just kind of pull as you go. Just kind of evenly on both sides at one time, however you want to do it. Split them apart, get it tight. You can make this loose, you can make it tight, whatever you want your knot to look like. You can just mess with that a little bit and get it the way you want it. As I said, I made these a little bit shorter than I did on my other card. It will still work just great. All right, and that pretty little tag, those tailored tags just make it so easy. All right, we're going to use Stampin' Dimensionals, and just make sure this part is hanging over, like I said, hanging over this part. So you only want to put dimensionals on the left side and not on the right. So I just kind of flip it over so I know which side is which. Probably going to use maybe 3. Just kind of eyeball that. You can use your take your pick tool to take these off, or just use your fingernails, whatever works for you. And you could put this at the top if you wanted. You could put it whatever floats your boat. It's your card. You create it your way. Okay, split those apart a little bit. And I kind of like it down here, so that's where I'm going with it. Don't want to cover up too much of your snowflake, but in that pool party ribbon, pretty. That way it shows up more against the fresh freesia. But if you did this reversed, you could always use the fresh freesia ribbon we still have in the catalog. You could use the sheer pool party, either way. It works just great. Alrighty. We're going to stamp the inside. And I love these 2 sets. For that, we're going to use, let's see, I didn't show you the tailored tags dies. This is the one I was talking about previously. 15556 something. I hate the way these are. You have to take it all the way out to be able to see the number 63. Okay. Now we're going to use I believe this stamp set is the one that I'm using on here. Hope and Peace. I've used this a lot this Christmas. It's a beautiful faith-based set that is just gorgeous. And it's number 159773. And I believe this one is carrying over to the new catalog. We also have some really pretty ones, I think, on the Very Best Occasions. And this one with a little more sparkle and a little less stress. Let's make this Christmas the very best. That's really pretty too. As I've used this one also very often. May your days be happy, your heart be light, your Christmas merry, and the new year bright. So there are several options, but I have this one mounted. The May knowing Christ bring you peace for today, hope for tomorrow, and joy in every season. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, and I'm just going to stamp that. As I said, usually I don't do this on a thick white card base. I go ahead and put some layers inside, but I was considering doing this for my Christmas card, so I would be doing over 100 of them, so I didn't want to do a ton of layering. Okay, I'm going to practice this one time, make sure nothing's clogged up, it's all working okay. Yep. So hopefully we won't get one of those little sparkles in the way. And we will stamp straight down, let it sit for a second, straight up. There we go. I think we succeeded. So you could use, as I said, basically this same card will serve as a thank you card, anniversary card, birthday card, anything you want in the winter season. I'm going to add a little wink of Stella to some of these snowflakes here that on the Wintry. See if I can get, I can go closer up. Let's just do that. Let's see if I can do this with holding it in my hand, because I don't have a fancy way to do that. Otherwise, I'll just put it back down and bring it back up and show you after I've done some of these details. But this Wink of Stella glitter brush would be a great stocking stuffer for anybody, as would our Take Your Pick tool that I use all the time. And I'm sure anybody who has one uses it all the time. They work even for a lot of non-crafty stuff. You can certainly use them. I'm just going along the outline, covering up the little dots and going inside the lines on the little snowflakes, really just kind of anywhere that's embossed or debossed. I am following the line with the Wink of Stella. Hopefully you can see that. But a little glitter never hurt anybody, right? My husband hates actual glitter, but that makes a mess. But this one doesn't make a mess anywhere. It's just lovely. It adds some sparkle and bling to your card. We're also going to add a couple of embellishments and we will be done. I think this font here is a little too thin. I was able to use a little Wink of Stella on this, thanks. I don't know if you can tell that. Yep, a little bit. But this font was thick enough to be able to do that. I think I would make a mess doing it on here because it's so fine. You could, however, go along the edge here, kind of in between where you've done the sponge dauber with the pool party and where that line is. And this give it just a little bit of glitter around the edge. Isn't that pretty? Sometimes these just little bitty touches make such a difference in your card. If I was making 100 of them, I probably would not do that. But if you're only making a few, this is an easy way to do it. I don't think I used my bone folder quite enough. We're going to get that so it lays a little flatter. I'm going to let that Wink of Stella dry a moment and get our embellishments on. And we're going to use of course I have an open pack somewhere and it's not here, so we're just going to use this one, I guess. Hate to open a brand new pack, but we're going to. These are adhesive backed sequins and gems, and I'm sure these are on sale. I believe, I know that they are retiring, or I feel like they are. So these are Pool Party and Fresh Freesia. So that's kind of where I came up with the color scheme. This one has its little thing a little off. I use my Take Your Pick tool that way. And you could use either one here in the center of your snowflake. I'm going to use another Pool Party one here on the greeting. And then I'm going to use a Fresh Freesia one in this snowflake. And you could do more inside these snowflakes if you wanted and alternate the colors. You could use, I did not show you. There's a picture on my blog. If you go to createwithkelly.com, I played with one using these right around the center of the snowflake. But it was really pretty, but it kind of turned it into a flower almost. So I decided not to do that on the final, but you can see a picture on my blog at createwithkelly.com. So if you have any questions or want the measurements for this card, you can see those. I believe they are on my blog already. And if you like this card, I would love it if you would go to my blog and vote for my card. This is actually entered into a drawing, not a drawing, but a kind of a contest with Kylie Bertucci, who has an international blog highlights each year. I mean, each month, not each year. I'd make that deadline. The monthly part is the tricky one for me. But I'm so glad you tuned in today, and I would love to show you the new catalog that's coming. The only thing I can show you, though, whoops, kind of loud, is the mini catalog. Here's the cover. and it will be January through April, like we talked about before. And we've got lots of fun things coming up. I'll have a class. There's a suite in here that is about featuring hearts, and it can be for your Valentine. It can be your friend who's a Valentine. It has a really neat sentiment. I can't remember exactly what it says about friendship, and I can't peek while I'm on air here. So I can't tell you about that, but I will have that class coming up. And then also this year, there will only be one celebration, one. So it's only in January and February. So you can't think, oh, I'll wait till the next celebration. Well, that's going to be another year away because we'll only have one this year. So the celebration starts in January, right with the new mini catalog. Y'all will be able to order then. If you decide you can't wait and want to order earlier, you can become a demonstrator and put some of these items in your starter kit. So let me know if you're interested in joining any of the Create with Kelly crew classes I have coming up. Or if you would like to subscribe to my blog, you'll get the newsletter and you can go on and vote for my card. I would love to be in the top 10, as I've been a couple of times this year. So that was really exciting to me. Would love to have that happen again. So hope you will tune in for more Christmas fun. And also we've got some paper pumpkin. The next paper pumpkin is going to be treat packages, and you have to subscribe by the 10th of this month, by December 10th, and you'll get little treat boxes that are good for a lot of different occasions, birthdays, graduations, any kind of celebration in your life you want a little treat box for. And then there will be coordinating envelopes that go with it, cards and envelopes that you can purchase separately. So would love for y'all to be a Paper Pumpkin subscriber with me, or join my team, or just come to classes here in Lubbock. I would love to have you. Just contact me with any information you need, and would love to be your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. If you need a new catalog, mine should be here just any day now. I'm hoping I get my stack of them today. So if you don't have a demonstrator already, I would love to help you. I'd love to be your demonstrator. So thanks again for tuning in. Y'all have a great week. Fun times ahead. Bye-bye.